Last night, the internet was abuzz. In all week, all week, there's been different reporters from the DMV area, from D.C., Maryland, Virginia, people that cover the Washington team named TBDs, and they said that, there's big news coming out this week, and it's not about the team name. A guy named Abraham did it, another dude that works for ABC7, then NBC Sports Washington. I mean, there has been numerous reports that have come out that people are like, hey, massive bad news is coming for the Washington football team. And everybody that wasn't in the area was like, oh, this is them retiring the name and having to find a new name and potentially losing a fan base that's mad about it, but gaining a whole new fan base. That's not that bad of news. And then they were doubling down, these people. They're like, no. We're not talking about anything about the name. There is massive bad news coming for the Washington football team named TBD. So whenever you see that, you have to start thinking to yourself, well, what could this possibly be? And then you start hearing stories about the minority owners, the people that own 40% of the Washington football team named TBDs, and they want out. And I've never heard of a single human that is trying to get out of the NFL ownership business. That is just not something that happens. They make money every single year. The values of these teams double nearly every 3 years or 4 years or something like that. It is a business that is printing money at this point. So if you're an NFL owner, you would think you would want to hang on to that however you can. But then you hear like, well, the minority owners that own 40%, they want out. And then you hear like bad news is coming. It has nothing to do with the name. So you start piecing it together. It was like, what the hell could that be? It must be terrible then. It must be absolutely terrible news. So then your mind starts to wander into where it could potentially go. And then last night on the internet was a buzz. There was people that have inside sources that are lawyers in DC. They're talking about how sexual assault allegations are potentially coming out. We're talking drug and alcohol abuse in the building, pimping out the cheerleaders, they said. There's like potential sketchy business ethics happening there, and it's all going to get exposed. Now, this is all allegedly, obviously. We have no idea who this guy is, but these are the types of things that would make sense on why the minority owners want out. They don't want their names associated to any of this because they're probably not at the building every single day, and the fact that this was happening, they might actually not have known. And by the way, who knows what was happening at the building? Who knows if Dan Snyder knew if it was happening or if this was something else? But any of it all makes sense when you start thinking of like, oh, there must be sexual misconduct. Oh, there must be drug and alcohol. Oh, there must be some questionable business ethics. When you start putting those together, it's like, oh, that's why people wanted the hell out of there. And now the Washington Post is sitting on a story or finishing a story, and the rest of the world is just like, all right, Washington Post, tell you what, I couldn't tell you one time in the sports world where there was this much hype for an article or a column that was coming out. Right now, you're talking about a team that is in the middle of potential change. They're changing their name, okay? So a brand new franchise is being invented in 12 days before training camp's supposed to start. And there's an entire expose coming from the Washington Post, which is a rather large company that is just going to basically display their entire toxic culture from there. This is a bad week to be a Washington football team named TBD. But for the rest of the world, we're like, all right, let's see what comes out here. Now, obviously, we hope everybody's safe. We hope everybody is okay. But, boy, whenever you think about that Washington team, last year Bruce Allen was like, hey, our culture actually isn't really that bad. Pretty good. Yeah. Then you go back like 2018, the New York Times wrote an article that was basically a lot of the stuff that was mentioned in that guy's tweet, talking about how they traveled, the Redskins cheerleaders traveled to Costa Rica for a photo shoot, and there was some nude photo shoots, and then there was some parties that they were asked to go to for sponsors, and there was like 14-hour days, and there was spectators watching them change. It was there's a lot of these things came out 2 years ago, so everybody's wondering like, okay, what does the Washington Post have that could either clarify those a little bit more, maybe legitimize those stories a little bit more because for whatever reason, maybe that one didn't catch on, or do they have even more? And boy, the Washington Post is kind of holding all the cards right now. And I would assume Dan Snyder's just sitting out front like, is there any way we could potentially talk about what's about to happen here?
Do you think it looks bad when you see like some of these executives and higher level guys resigning? Like, does that make them look complicit in this, or do you think they're just trying to distance themselves as quick as possible?
So I think think the easy thing to do would say, oh, they were a part of it. They're getting out. They're running for the hills, right? That would be an easy thing just because if you're a pessimistic person, it's like, oh, they're obviously guilty. They're trying to get out of there. Or maybe these people didn't know this was happening and they're just learning about it as everybody else is. And they're like, wait a minute, I cannot be a part of this, right? There's always, who knows how that's going to go. And I assume, by the way, there's going to be a lot of trials in court and there's going to be defamation of character and slander and libel. And then there's going to be charges for this. I mean, there is going to be a lot that goes into this. All the while they're trying to change their name. Okay. It is an absolute cluster truck over there. And Dwayne Haskins is going into his second year. This is his first time with a brand new coach, brand new offensive coordinator, brand new system, and literally the entire building around him is burning. He is that gif
The dog.
of that dog and everything just burning around him. Now, we obviously hope justice is served for everybody that did wrong, but if you think about it from a sports standpoint, whenever they talk about distractions and how, oh, we can't bring this player in because he's a distraction, it's going to hurt us from winning, and we can't do this, and you can't do this because it's you got to worry about the team. It's like, it feels like this Washington football team name TBD within the next couple of days, it feels like they're one massive distraction, and it's no wonder they stink. It's no wonder they stink, especially if all this comes out. But the fact that this is even all possibly coming out and everybody's like, yeah, definitely, that just tells you exactly what that franchise is right now, which is trash, and their fans are a loyal fan base. Dwayne Haskins seems to be a great young quarterback. Ron Rivera is a good coach. So there's a lot of things that are potentially like positive from that. And it's just like, well, none of it matters because everything around it is just the absolute worst possible thing.
Yeah, and when the rumors started coming out, you think, all right, maybe it's true, maybe it's not. And then, but like to Ty's point, the two front office execs being fired, and then yesterday, like the play-by-play or whoever it was resigned out of nowhere, that kind of lends some like, hey, maybe there is something going on here. And then poor Ron Rivera, because
there's no way he knew about
no,
this.
no
chance.
But I'm saying this is the second time because in Carolina, the owner was the same. Like, not, we don't know what happened yet, but similar if the rumors are true.
Well, and then Ron Rivera, right? Now, the only thing that could potentially get Ron Rivera in trouble is Ron Rivera told us on our show, because I said, why Washington? He could have went anywhere. Ron Rivera could have taken any job he wanted that was open. That's how highly respected Ron Rivera is. And aside from the massive amount of money that I think Dan Snyder paid him, he said that he asked people who knew Dan Snyder what Dan Snyder was like as opposed to the public image. And he said everybody said this is what he's actually like. And Ron Rivera was like, okay, let's go to work together, you know. So that would be the only way that Ron Rivera could have potentially had a heads up that any of this was happening. But what if Ron Rivera is the guy in there like, hey, we got to fix all this, okay? Like, this can't happen anymore. What if he's the one that told Washington Post, like, hey, listen to what's going on over here? What if he is actually trying to right the ship here with everything? Because it is alleged that he's in those conversations with Snyder about the new team name. They want to move forward. But Ron Rivera, his name's now getting attached to this thing. And I think every human that's ever met Ron is like, that's a good guy right there.
Yeah.
But boy, I think there's going to be some real bad guy stuff come out. You know
Nope.
what I mean?
Nope.
The NFL is supposed to be, protect the shield. This is the shield. I'm getting a call right now from somebody that potentially has news on what's happening right there. That person knows me very well and knows I'm in the middle of the show. Was I supposed to answer that right there live on air?
I say you answer.
Yeah.
No, I can't because I don't know what that person's going to say right there.
Hey, don't say anything yet, but
That's what I think was just about
say
to happen
something.
right there.
Yeah. Oh, you just turned
Just text them and say, hey, text it.
Let's go to Chris in California. I mean, what the hell was that? That person knows I have a show.
Hey man, how's it going?
Hey, not bad. How you
Hey,
doing?
not bad. How are you, bub?
Doing all right, man. I'm a huge fan of the show, so whatever I got to do to support you and the boys, I'm all for it, man. I'm waiting on my For the Brand apparel. I can't wait till it comes in the mail.
Oh, it's going to come. It's going to come.
oh no.
I really need your opinion on something, Pat. I heard, I'm not a big fan of it, but do you think our Fresh Prince Williard is at these DC parties? Do you think
Billard.
that's a possibility.
Billard. You're talking about Billard over there? Is that what you're talking about over there?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if Billard was there, but I
Oh boy.
I played Billiards before.
that was a very, very, very long text message, and as I was scrolling through there, I saw some big words and big names in there.
Oh no.
Oh, what do I do? This is why people know not to tell me anything. What am I supposed to do right now?
Go to my sources.
I want to read that thing live right now.
I'm assuming.
But I think there's potential legal ramifications.
Get the FaceTime out. Get them on.
Not if you say sources.
Let me look at it. Allegedly. No.
Oh, God, our ears.
Oh man.
Oh, no.
it's a bombshell.
That is, I just read one sentence there. I'm not going to be the person that's going to have that come out of my mouth first. But if that is it, this is going to be massive.
Can you screenshot and send it to them?
Well, it's not just
the boys?
Okay, how about this? How about this?
Oh,
For the boys.
read it.
Tony Scoops.
From what I just read,
Tony Scoops will send it.
that is a 6-paragraph thing I just got, okay? So I might have just got the entire Washington Post article sent to me there, or at least a piece of it. It doesn't just involve actions off the field.
Oh no.
That's all I'll say. Allegedly.
They were just
What?
they're disrespecting our game on the field.
Hey, they
Goodness
are
gracious.
compromising the game on the field potentially.
Those mother. Well, it didn't help them. So
Cheaters.
I don't know if that's going to get out the sentence I just read, but if it does, big problems for a lot of people, not just the Redskins. Well, sorry, the Washington football team named TBDs.
Stinks for Chase Young.
I don't know what to do here. I mean, how is that just sitting right there? I have a 5 million view video sitting right there if I really wanted to look at this thing as
Do it,
a
do it,
YouTube
do it,
business person.
do it.
you got to break it
do
1 minute, and then it'll give you.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Digest it going into hour 2.
That's what I'll do. And then
then-
I will figure out whether or not I should read it in
Huge
hour
breaking
2.
news,
That is what I'll
hour
do.
2.
I am going to read through that, and I will see if that is something that I should say publicly. I feel like there's potentially a lot of lawsuits coming out of this just because of the things that were said about certain people. I only read 3 sentences basically in this entire thing. That is a 3-scroller. Oh, no. Oh, this is a spot now, huh? They don't tell you about this, huh? When you do an everyday radio show, they don't tell you about this situation potentially happening. I have no idea how to handle this. All right, hour 2 of the radio is on the other side. Might get canceled today. This is the Pat McAfee Show. Before we went to the break, I got a very long text message from somebody who, knows some people, okay? And I read a couple of the sentences, and you saw my live reaction to what those sentences were. After reading the entire thing, I could tell you the message that I got was only accusations from people that they have heard. So it was a collection of all the accusations that are going on against the Washington team named TBDs currently that is supposed to be aired out in a Washington Post column coming today, tomorrow, within the next couple days. Everybody is expecting. The reason why I cannot read that thing aloud is because none of that is confirmed, and it is basically a collection of stories that have been heard from people who know people over there. So if I was to read that, and I'm going to tell you this, if everything in that text message is accurate, this is a bombshell moment, not just for the Washington football team named TBDs, but for the NFL as a whole. This could be very catastrophic, but none of that's been confirmed. And I am not going to be the guy who comes out and reads something and potentially gets feeds a false narrative guy, which potentially leads to lawsuits and stuff like that. But know that if 80% of whatever I just got is true, this is going to be a big problem. And it's not just the off the field stuff that is going to raise eyebrows. I think the thing that is involving the on field stuff is potentially now granted, there's other stuff in there that is disgusting, but I think the football stuff that is potentially going to come out is a much broader story than any of us could ever imagine. And I'm just waiting for the Washington Post to see if this text message that I just got is exactly what the Washington Post has been investigating for. Because if that is the case, all these text messages and tweets that are saying it's big and it's bad and it's sad, it 1,000% is. But I have no idea if any of this is true, so I cannot be the person out here saying boom, 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 because I have not done the investigation. I just sat here a little bit high and got a text message from somebody and did a lot of research on the internet. So I can't be that guy. I hope everybody understands. But boy, the on-field stuff is going to be quite a tall feat to overcome.
The hype
Tough
is
if
real.
that's true. And I've learned in my reporting days, it's better to be accurate than to be first.
You're a man of integrity.
Think about, and then I got off the phone with legal during the break, and they said you can't.
There was numerous people that ran into this studio and said, do not read. And I got a text message from a couple of people that said, whatever you just got, do not read on the air.
Give it to Mick.
And I think this is why a lot of the reporters, by the way, have just been saying this is going to be big, this is going to be sad, because that involves a lot of lawsuits. If there's people that if those stories are inaccurate, that is going to involve a lot of lawsuits. So I shouldn't be the person. But if this is the information from the Washington Post article and it's getting to this person, that means the Washington Post article is right around the bend. That means it is coming quickly. But boy, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know how we talk
I
about
don't know how
anything
you're
else.
keeping it in right now.
I don't know how we talk about anything. That on-field one is.
ruins everything.
Yeah, seriously.
That's crazy.
I just got a message from the back that said,
Keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Hey, how you
Keep it moving. I mean, the person that sent me that message are probably watching right now. I want to let you know, you're a terrible person. Okay, you are a terrible, terrible person for what you just did. You know how I operate. You know how this show is. You're watching this show right now. You know me rather well. And you're just going to make me sit on this particular thing that is potentially devastating.
Son of a gun.
Devastating.
I mean, it's an A-bomb. It's the big one.
Everything.
Let's go Magpies.
This is a big one if this comes out.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think we go to a break. 4 minutes into the show.
Got to do it.
No, can't do it.
Hey, Tiger's back today.
NASCAR had a race.
Let's pivot. Let's move. Let's talk.
Yeah,
So,
that was awesome.
if that person's getting that information and that is the information that's going to be in the article, it's coming out very soon. And when that happens, then we'll do a follow-up to talk about it. But I can't be the person that does it. But how am I supposed to sit here with what I just read right there? I mean, we're talking pretty massive claims here.